Is there any safe level of alcohol consumption? Today we are going to answer this question, and to answer it I will provide you all the positive and the negative side effects, as well as all the benefits and the harms you can get from alcohol. So first of all, let's start with the benefits. Obviously, there are some benefits about drinking, otherwise nobody would be. I'm talking about the social benefits. These are benefits that don't have a physical effect, but more an emotional effect about the way you feel and how you experience a certain event. These reasons are obviously different for everybody, and everybody will have their own reason why they would prefer alcohol. And then when we look at the physical benefits, you may have already heard some people say that, for example, red wine is very good for cardiovascular health. So we'll look more into that deeply, whether or not this statement is true. However, I'll give you a quick spoiler. There really aren't any real health benefits to drinking alcohol. The reality of alcohol is that it does increase your health harms. It's even proven that in over 200 different diseases are directly correlated to alcohol. In Europe alone, alcohol consumption is in the top 5 of causes for disability and disease. We even know that alcohol consumption does in fact shorten your life. Now you might be thinking, how the hell is this all possible, and where do all these health implication and health harms come from? Well, it's your lucky day, because today I will be answering these questions and we'll go over all the different parts of your body where these health harms occur, and so by the end you might have a better idea of what we actually are talking about when we say that alcohol is unhealthy. The first part of our body that we're going to look at is our liver. Now you may already have been thinking about the liver, as this is the organ we most think about when speaking about alcohol. This is because the liver is responsible for breaking down, for example, drugs, toxins and other chemicals. And so our alcohol gets broken down into the liver into energy and acetaldehyde. This is also the reason, because acetaldehyde is a very toxic chemical, this is the reason why alcohol is so destructive to our liver. The first stage of our liver disease is called hepatic steatosis, or in other words, fatty liver. And this is basically caused by your liver absorbing all the calories, and your liver will get fat. It's not that harmful, and it can be reversed by just not drinking for about 2 weeks. If you don't actually do something about this, we can actually go over to a further stage of liver disease called alcohol hepatitis, or liver inflammation. It's basically where you drink way more than you can handle, and there is just way too much acetaldehyde in your liver going up your brain, and it can really destroy your liver. It does occasionally cause death, however it's not yet very fatal. This occurs most in binge drinkers, so when you drink very much in one evening, or just moderate drinkers over the long run, who not necessarily drink much on one evening, but more spread over during the week. When we reach cirrhosis, this is the point of no return. So the normally very spongy organ that we call the liver is now a very woody and hard liver. So all these cells that actually make the liver regenerating have died off. So it won't regenerate anymore, and the only way you can recover from this is a liver transplant. If you do not get a liver transplant, you will very soon die. Now, if you thought the part about your liver was rather unsettling, I have quite a scary and a long list of all the different cancers that are known to be caused significantly by alcohol consumption. Now, some of these cancers are dose dependent, which means there is a certain amount of alcohol intake that you must do first before you become susceptible for the cancer. However, there's also, it's not always the case, which means that from the first drop of alcohol, you will become susceptible to other types of cancer. Now, the International Agency for Research on Cancer actually found these associations so strong that they clarified alcohol as a carcinogen. Now, carcinogen is not a word used very lightly, as a carcinogen basically means that it's a project that causes cancer. This is in the same list as things like asbestos. Due to this, the World Health Organization has decided that no level of alcohol, no matter how much you drink, is safe. Even as little as 1 glass of wine is not safe, declared by the World Health Organization. Now there's two ways how alcohol might cause you cancer. So cancer is mainly caused by the changing or the damaging of DNA. First way how alcohol damages your DNA is by the production of free radicals in your cells. The second way is just the toxic effect of alcohol in the skin of your mouth and gullet, and there the tissue gets damaged while also DNA gets altered, and because of that cancer can occur. Now, as spoke about, alcohol, or in many cases consumed as ethanol, is a toxic and a carcinogen to many of your bodily organs. This is why the European Food Authority made a guidance for the consumption of these toxic substances, both food and drinks. And they set the safe exposure level to about 50 milligrams a day. That means that if you want to stay below the acceptable food standard for cancer, that means you have to consume less than 2 units a year. That comes out to about 1 glass of wine every year. Now let's talk about our cardiovascular health. First of all, we'll talk about the heart. So alcohol actually poisons your heart just like it could poison your liver, and the scary thing about this one is that you don't actually need to be a heavy drinker for this to occur. So your heart will become slower and less efficient if you drink more alcohol. It could even, in the worst case, lead up to heart failure and death. And finally, let's talk about the common myth that people say that red wine might increase your cardiovascular health. Now basically it's probably thought of this because in the 20th century a lot of French people were eating loads of cheese and loads of red meat, even though they were not having any type of health complication. They thought that it was because they drank a lot of red wine. This was later debunked, as it probably was caused by their Mediterranean diet, where they ate a lot of oils, they ate a lot of fish and a lot of chicken. Also, the people in France were less likely to actually binge, at least back then, were less likely to binge on their drinks, unlike, for example, the people in the United Kingdom. They would binge and drink way more aggressively. Though there are a couple of studies that might suggest there is a slight benefit to your cardiovascular health. However, experts say that even if there was a benefit, it would be more than overwhelmed by all the negative effects. So it wouldn't be worth it at all, basically. Now, your brain. It's very much true that alcohol does in fact cause brain damage. Actually, 1 in 5 of the cases of dementia are caused by alcohol. And it's also proven that a faster cognitive decline can be linked to your alcohol consumption, alongside numerous other medical diseases. It must be said that most of these medical diseases kind of look like an exponential graph. For example, if you drink almost nothing, your risk will be also almost nothing. But the more you drink, you'll exponentially see a big increase in your risk. So I'll put this category in because there's also a lot of dangers indirectly caused by alcohol. For example, it's estimated that in the United Kingdom alone, from 2017 to 2018, there were about 340,000 hospitalizations, all linked directly to alcohol. So they were treated all because of the effects and the things surrounding alcohol. Because obviously alcohol just makes you more clumsy and it makes your judgment go down significantly. For example, there's a term called balconing, where people just climb their balcony. Obviously, if you were sober, you wouldn't think at all that you were able to climb a balcony. But when you're drunk, your cognitive abilities do obviously shrink, and so you might think, oh, I can make this jump, or I can do this, while in reality you obviously could not. We can also see that when there's alcohol in the occasion, there's also a higher increase of assault, sexual assault, and even rape. And sadly, in all of these cases, the victims are also more likely to be drunk or to be under the influence themselves, which obviously make them easy prey. So drinking might also enhance your risks of becoming the victim of any of these horrible crimes. We definitely also need to talk about your mental health. As alcohol makes us feel good in the short term, we might feel some difficulty in the long term. You might start to enjoy your day-to-day life less and less. This is also caused because alcohol is a known depressant, so this also doesn't help, and that's also a reason why alcohol is causing a lot of depression. Alcohol works on the serotonin system, and that in turn makes your brain push yourself to lower moods. Alcohol is also proven to cause anxiety, a short attention span, and just more overall sadness. There is a whole list of other mental problems, for example, self-harm and eating disabilities, though these are more radical and don't really occur that often, so they might not be as relatable to you. Now, if you really were not convinced yet that alcohol isn't really something that good, then I've thrown in just the last couple of things that alcohol will have an effect on, starting with your fertility. In any level of drinking, in both males and females, there's a significant, or at least a very notable, decrease in your fertility. Also, sperm count and sperm quality are very much affected. Next to that, the major categories of the quality of your life will be affected by alcohol. I'm talking about appearance, nutrition, your sleep, your sex, your fitness, and your quality of work. Now, I would like to make another video about why, for example, alcohol does make a change in your appearance. However, this video is getting quite long, so I'm gonna keep that for another time. But for now, these were all the health harms, so let's get into the conclusion, or like my final thoughts. Whilst making this video and researching the topic, a lot of questions started going through my head. For example, like, is it all worth it? Am I really willing to take all these different risks just for a quick, short evening, a burst of me being social and just being more fun to be around without me actually having to put in any work? And I'm all about self-improvement and becoming the best version of yourself. But taking a drug to become more social and to fill in the gaps of your personality doesn't really align with who I am or who I want to become. Instead, I could take the social occasion as an opportunity to go out my comfort zone and to be more social and to actually try and become the person who I would be for like a couple of hours if I would take this drug. So for me, it's very clear. This video for you might be a very informative video, but for me, it's a promise to myself that for the next couple of years, where I'm still working on myself, where my brain is still developing, I will not be drinking a single drop of alcohol. And now it's your turn. Really ask yourself the question, is it really all worth it?